Is there anything more stupid than caring about publicly rated things, whether it be the scores for a movie on IMDb or MyAnimeList, especially MyAnimeList? Like the amount of fan bases that get together and just rate and glaze their show to the top, causing reactions from other fan bases who for some reason care, rate that show at a 1 out of 10 and becomes online discourse. This shit is so useless and so pointless. And besides, to even begin to give a fair assessment, you'd have to watch every show on the MAL Top 50. And who the fuck is stupid or desperate enough to do that? My name is Dose of Dylan, and this is the avatar I use for fillers clips. His name is Bat Snow, and I've watched every anime on the MyAnimeList Top 50. In this video, I'm going to take you through the experience of doing that. The good, the bad, the ugly, and eventually a ranking of not all 50 shows, but a top 20 to keep it all positive. 2 notes. I've decided to pause the list as of the date of June 15th, 2026. So at that day, the list is frozen. If you want a full list of the anime that I'm looking at, they will be in the description below in the MAL ranking that they are, as of June 15th, 2026. 2, there will be no spoilers. As it says in the title, no anime, movie, or anything around these franchises will be spoiled. Got it? Good. Now, why do this? So, when I was watching every 70s mecha, I would always put a Gintama show in between. And as you can see in the MAL Top 50, there's a shitload of Gintama. My final reward for watching every 70s mecha and sitting through like Astro Ganger and all those bad shows, to finally treat myself to Legend of the Galactic Heroes, thinking I would really enjoy it. I then checked out Legend of Galactic Heroes ranking on MAL, and thinking to myself, yo, I could just watch everything here. I got like 15 entries and 3 of them are just movies. Bro, I can do this. Was it a waste of time? Probably, but I did it, and here I am. I at least get something out of it besides just sitting down and watching some bullshit. I even got some positives out of doing this experience. Wanna hear them? The MAL Top 50 is not as bad as you think it is. Now, I want you to look at the previous video I did on this channel. I am not someone that watches a lot of modern day anime. I like classic anime, and the MAL Top 50 has a lot of modern day shows. So for that to come from me, I think should show you that there is a lot of quality here. I would personally count at least 18 shows I look at, and I was straight up fine with them being in the MAL Top 50, which when I started this list out, I was like, there's gonna be like no more than like 10, I'll be shocked. And there's more than 10. And in the reverse side, there's about 17 shows I'd say do not deserve to be in the MAL Top 50. Overall, I think that's just pretty decent and much better than I was expecting. And also, just as a top 50 list of anime that are publicly voted on or publicly rated, this ain't a bad one. This is probably at least the second best one. Anime News Network at times is kind of the snooty, this is better than MAL. Is it? Just look at this. Eva 2.0 is here, but not the original Evangelion. Looking at Anime News Network's top 50 anime, it's just one person that was a big weeb up until like 2012, then just stopped watching anime besides like the big uber hits. AnimeList's top 50 is basically just MAL's top 50, except I like the general placings in MAL's top 50 a little bit more than AnimeList's, and the shows that exist in MAL's top 50 that aren't in AnimeList's top 50, I just prefer more. The only one that I think is better is probably AniDB's. Besides 1 or 2 here, I think this is just a better top 50. Even has something for me that I personally love in fucking Gundam Origins. As a Char fanboy, seeing my Char power fantasy over there, it gives me so much validation, motherfucker, let's go. There's also IMDb's top 50, which there's a couple, and the most popular one is just, it's a special top 50, we'll give you that much, alright? It being the second best list, especially with all the fan politics and bullshit around it, that's pretty good. I'm actually pretty happy that it's at least that alright. Now, the MAL Top 50 isn't perfect by any means. The amount of recency bias on the MAL Top 50. As of June 15th, 2026, that's the list I'm looking at, only 16 anime from before the year 2015 exist on the list. For before 2010, it's only 10, and before the year 2000, it's only 3. Let's reflect those results in any other medium, so something like video games or movies. Imagine if I sat here and I said, only 10 video games from before the year 2010 deserve to be on any top 50. I think you would get a couple people mad at that. And let's not even go to movies. If somebody had a top 50 list and like Casablanca wasn't there and Godfather wasn't there and Raging Bull and whatnot, you would get people losing their mind. Only 10 movies from before the year 2010 are there? But with anime, and this is normally cited because the fan base of anime, especially in the West, is so young, this is kind of accepted as older shows just do not measure up to newer shows. That take, coming from a primarily English-speaking anime fan, is hard for me to swallow. Especially if I don't know if you know your anime history, since the English-speaking world has the least context for anime history. Legit, Korea has a much more substantial and bigger backbone when it comes to anime history and the context of anime history than even we have, which is including the era where Japanese media was banned in Korea, in combination with a lot of new blood into anime, so they just don't go back because there's so much new stuff coming out, access to older stuff such as it's now on streaming or there's no dubs and whatnot, it's on in HD. All of that kind of creates this powder cake of us not really having the respect for anime history. And of course you get my least favorite argument that older shows are a product of their time and they're not as good as modern day, or when I look at older shows, I kind of have to bring my expectation down. You do not need to look at any of these shows as a lesser than because they're older or a product of their time. They stand up just as well today, and the ways that they use their visuals to convey emotion to the audience work just as well, if not better, at keeping you visually engaged and satisfied while watching these shows. In fact, my example isn't even an old show. It's Love is War Kaguya-sama. Kaguya-sama uses every single classic anime directing technique in the book. Has anybody ever argued that Kaguya-sama is a badly directed show? Has anybody argued that the emotional moments do not work or the comedy moments do not work because of the directing? No. And it's using triple cuts. It's using postcard memories. It's having the natural light source from windows. It's doing everything. These techniques are not new. This is Osamu Dezaki. This is even Tomino and Miyazaki. And if you think any of Miyazaki's shows back from the 70s look bad because they're old, I'm sorry, you're just gonna have to watch the shows. And anybody that says something as ridiculous as Gunbuster is a product of its time and visually not as good, or I can't get into it because it looks bad, brother, not a conversation starter, all right? Just we can be bygones at that point. Another trend I noticed as I was watching everything in the Mal Top 50, anime fans don't really want death, or they just don't care about death. They want the stakes of what death is, but don't really want the consequences of death. I will not spoil anything, but I do have numbers to back me up. 15 of the 23 franchises which show a death on the screen eventually walk back a death. And I'm not talking about just a gunshot fade to black. I'm talking about we either see that character die in front of us, or scenes where it's greatly teased a character dies only to go back and go, nah. Obviously, in some of these franchises, you can argue the context, X and Y, or this death being run back is good because of blah blah blah, but boy does this shit just happen so goddamn much. This to me really shows anime fans love the roller coaster. It doesn't matter if undoing death kind of defeats the purpose of death. It's fun to see people die. It's the ups and downs versus the actual substance. There are very few shoujos or yoseis on the Mal Top 50. Fruit Basket and Iko Kokuniki. And Iko Kokuniki, I think as I'm recording this, is already at 8.73, so it's technically off by alphabetical order. This just kind of adds to that substance point because those shows aren't the most flashy. There aren't big Sakuga moments and big flips and explosions and gore and stuff. It's just the character drama. It's just the substance in the writing. It's emotional stuff, and that just doesn't fit the Mal Top 50, and trust me, I fucking noticed. And finally, let's cover, I think ugly is a little bit of a violent term, but things that are just a general bummer about the list. Survivalship bias. That's what this list is all about. Survivalship bias, as I'll define here, is when the audience that remains for later seasons is mostly made up of fans that have already liked the series and forgive it for its faults, or sometimes don't even see its faults for this, that, and the other, and so only the survivors are rating later seasons, and therefore the sequels get higher scores. This happens with a lot of shows. Obviously not every sequel is like this, and not every case in the Mal Top 50 is like this, but them glazers be glazing, man. Some of the tricks that these glazers are doing on their favorite sequels, like, y'all gonna fall off this ride, holy shit, like the dick riding. Like, seriously, we need to get Tony Hawk and the X Games on this. This is a sport right now. Have some stats to back me up. 14 series currently on the Mal Top 50 are their first animated entry. That sounds okay, but 3 of them are movies, and another 3 are literally ranked 48 to 50 on the Mal Top 50, which means by the time the next Apothecary season comes out, and the next One Piece reboot, and so on and so forth, Bucci the Rock season 2 is probably going to be on here, they're going to be off. They're not long for this list. There are only 2 original anime that are not an adaptation of something else on the Mal Top 50. Cowboy Bebop and Code Geass Season 2. I think there's also 3 movies, but one of those movies is the second Gintama movie, so count that how you want to count that. That just tells me that people that make original anime apparently suck at maximizing the medium that they're making it for. Light novel writers are just better at it. GG's. Now, one look at the Mal Top 50, you probably are going to blame Gintama for all the sequels, and yeah, there's probably a little bit too much Gintama. But the one thing that really irks me, why are both versions of the Attack on Titan ending on this list? There's almost no difference besides a post-credit sequence in one and not the other. That's the only difference. You can say whatever you want about Gintama, at least the remake movies on here. Code Geass, which ending has been split up into an OVA version and a recap version, are not here, and that's the goddamn Code Geass ending. But both Attack on Titan endings, God, I had to watch both of them, and I'm fine with one being on here. Both of them really did irk me. Why did I do this? Why the fuck did I do this and waste all my goddamn time? Well, I did like a couple of the shows. Want to hear about 20 of them? That's right, folks, this is a secret ranking video, but I'm only going to do the top 20. Remember, there are no spoilers, and JoJo Part 8 and ReZero Season 4 will not be counted as of this recording. They are not complete. I'm also going to be mostly positive. I do have criticisms for these shows, but let's just keep the vibes good. We've been pretty negative recently, alright? Y'all ready for this? Let's start with number 20. The highest rated movie on Mal, yet it couldn't even win Anime Movie of the Year. Thanks, Crunchyroll. Chainsaw Man Reze arc sets up a new bar and a new standard for modern day movies when it comes to directing and animation. The visual storytelling and directing are so well done. Like, there are so many times where I personally just give up on modern day storyboards because I think they all look kind of blah, but then I see something like this and my faith is restored. Revisiting this era of CSM and revisiting Denji and Reze's relationship is such a blast, and their relationship is a big highlight throughout the whole franchise. It getting a proper adaptation from reading the manga warmed my heart. That pool scene, and you've probably seen it, is such a great example of everything this movie does right outside of just the fighting, and the fighting does look pretty great. And then you add this OST, everything comes together for one of the best made things on the Mal Top 50. Number 19. Vinland Saga Season 2. The first half of Season 2 is such a wonderful follow-up to the end of Season 1, taking where we left off, especially with Thorfinn's character, and watching how that arc develops into Season 2 during the first half is one of my favorite things in this franchise. And the back half is such a good thematic closing to what Vinland Saga is going to be from this point onwards. And I love how the manga grows upon the themes set up in the second half and really makes the Vinland Saga into its own. Number 18 is Ikokoku Nikki. The saddest part about Ikokoku Nikki is it'll be off the top 50 by the time I even get to editing this. Ikokoku Nikki is the least Mal Top 50 anime in the Mal Top 50. This series is so low key. I remember that there was just the scene with all these older women just getting together and having a conversation, and I'm so used to watching stuff where it's just, oh, let's compare boob sizes or talk about whatever. No, they were just having a normal ass conversation. And not like a moe blob slice of life thing where you're supposed to go, oh, cute and hashtag relatable. No, just a normal conversation between people, and I was really enthralled by it. And this isn't just a slice of life, this is a real drama. But it's never over the top. It invests you into the problems with these leads, and invests you into the coming of age story, and invests you into its themes without ever getting way too over the top or way too melodramatic. The adults act like adults, the teenagers act like, well, real ass teenagers, along with a well-directed and well-constructed story that keeps you invested throughout. Compared to everything else in the Mount Top 50, this is a breath of fresh air. Number 17 is the always interesting Steins. Steins and me have a up and down relationship. Those downs rarely, if ever, exist with the original series. The leads for Steins are a dream come true and have such great chemistry with each other, Okabe and Kurisu, along with such a well-conceived and well-done time travel story, probably the best in anime and one of my favorite in fiction. Does everything it can do with its premise, and it's beautiful, deep, and dramatic in the best ways possible. Watching the tender moments and struggles and seeing every interaction build until you eventually find what the Steins is such a beautiful journey. One of the shows that I cite that took me from a more casual anime fan to a more hardcore person and made me explore this medium just because I was such a big Steins fan. Number 16, Owarimonogatari. I've always had a love-hate relationship with Araragi. I'm never going to say he's not a well-written protagonist, but he's also a source of a lot of my least favorite aspects of Monogatari, the Monogatari tax, if you will. I would also say that my favorite arcs never involved him. It pleases me to say, however, Owarimonogatari fixes so much of that and more. This is the accumulation of everything that they were building with Araragi into this arc, and with another very important character who turned into one of my favorite characters in the franchise just because of the season. As someone that likes to award really good payouts for long build-ups, you're not gonna get many better examples than what Owarimonogatari did. Number 15, Attack on Titan Season 3 Part 2. Living up to your own hype, let alone the hype of a fandom as massive as Attack on Titan, is so rare. And Attack on Titan Season 3 Part 2 is that. It's that rare example and should be celebrated because holy shit. So it's the melodrama between so much of the cast being so rich into the content, into the emotional stakes involved, and I'm talking about almost everything, the moral questions you're left to ask yourself, and to see everything our protagonists have been working towards actually add up to a satisfying answer. No notes here, that's just fantastic. Number 14 is March Comes Like a Lion Season 2. I watch a lot of light novel and manga adaptations where there's not a lot visually really happening on screen, it's just talking. And people are going, what? It's talking, how do you make that interesting? And then you show them a Shaft show. You show them something as worthy of the masters of visual storytelling in the modern age, putting so much effort into areas where maybe there shouldn't be effort. The source material is March Comes Like a Lion, it deserves it. The big arc here is absolutely fantastic, and even the shogi matches, which were not a highlight in season 1, the character arcs here are so much better and well defined. Kei's character development is so wholesome, and seeing it actually grow from season 1 and seeing those arcs last from season 1 is so gratifying. And watching everyone spread their wings and take on reality, oh my god. And the show is not really in your face about it, it's just doing it through visual storytelling. What a great goddamn show. Number 13 is a reference to one of the best WWE promo packages of all time. It's Monster. Monster, don't get me wrong, is fantastic. But I don't know if enough time between when I watched Monster, which is this year, and now, I don't really know where I would put Monster. I'm still sorting out my thoughts. Is the atmosphere in the show fantastic? Yes. Is the character writing of Dr. Tenma beautifully crafted arc that stays consistent to its messaging and its theme throughout? Yes. It's gratifying to watch? Yes. The side characters? Great. The tone? Beautiful. Is the way it conveys its message and themes perfect, as it's not really telling you something, it's letting you find the conclusion. Yes, yes, and yes. Johan as, let's just say, funny, as some of the stuff with Johan is a defining villain on this list, and a lot of people's favorite villains for a good fucking reason. Monster is fantastic, and once I really start to sort out my feelings about Monster, I could see it go even higher. Number 12 is Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood is a show that I watched fairly early in my anime fandom. I was never really someone into shonens. Actually, my introduction to anime was mecha and romance animes, if you can believe that. Watching it at the more personal anime fan I was, I never popped out of my chair watching a show or anything, maybe watching sports, but not watching like a series. This show did that to me towards the end. It was one of my favorite sequences in all of anime to this day. This is a show that's so flavorful and has something that anybody can enjoy. Whether it be the characters that are so easy to invest into and have such a simple story that you can connect with instantly, and how it communicates that to you in such a clear and concise manner, and doing everything front end to back end at a most consistent, almost flawless pace and flawless execution into communicating its story. This is a masterpiece and was number 1 on MAL for a long time, and I can see why. Number 11, Spirited Away. How does one talk about one of the most glazed anime movies of all time? I find that a lot of people that watched Spirited Away later in their anime life, not as high on it, or maybe you've watched more Miyazaki movies before Spirited Away. This is my first Miyazaki movie. According to MAL, I have over 400 entries of anime, and I watched this literally like a month ago, and I still think it is that fucking good. Such an imaginative and well done coming of age story. Every character feels so unique, even as somebody that has watched a lot of traditional Japanese stuff. Everything feels just as creative, and it feels like Miyazaki's just having this imagination contest with himself, where he wants to come up with these cool, unique, interesting ideas for all the spirits. And it even pulled on my heartstrings. I remember there was just a simple scene when the main character just starts to bawl out, and I was just like, yo, I'm feeling a lot of emotions. I don't really cry at things. I rarely get choked up, and I was getting really goddamn choked up at it. It turns out that little indie man working on Future Boy Conan might have a little bit of a future in this. So do you know if he's gonna make any more movies? Number 10, Hunter x Hunter. Hunter x Hunter is the show in the MAL Top 50 with probably the longest maintained peak. 3 arcs in a row of just chef kiss after chef kiss, just so engrossing, and seeing what the series was setting up at the beginning actually accumulate to an incredibly good arc was gone. And really having such creative set pieces after another, whether it be Greed Island, Yorknu, or well, the Khmer Antark, which not much else needs to be said about how good that is, along with a fantastic power system and some of my favorite fights in shonen. Yeah man, this is a special series. And as someone that likes to reward peaks for shows over valleys or just maintaining consistency, Hunter x Hunter is an example of a show which peaks have earned its relevancy long after almost 15 years since its last animated episode, and how even through its ups and downs and release schedules, it remains such a fervent and beloved franchise. Number 9 is Monogatari the second season. The Tsubasa arc in Season 2 is one of such narrative satisfaction after a whole series of build-up. To watch her be able to realize her arc, especially in the way she does, see her character, who was such a big part of the series, receive the attention and love she finally needed, was so cathartic. That's the 3rd best arc here. Then Deko Sengoku, who was one of the worst arcs in Season 1. I was so mad on her. I was like, why do I need to even see her more? And fucking Nisei Monogatari, I was like, yo, get her off my screen. Now became maybe the best written character in the franchise because of this arc. It's one of the biggest 180s I've ever done on a character. That is the 2nd best arc here. Yeah. Fucking Hitagi End. Kaki and Hitaki End. Yeah, man, you're not getting much better than that shit. I fucking love Monogatari the second season. Number 8 is a show on the top of a lot of top 50 lists these days. It's Frieren Season 1. And yeah, Frieren is goddamn pretty good. Frieren's character, themes, directing, music, and its production. The production of Frieren, to me, when it comes to modern day anime, modern day televised anime that is, this is the new bar. This is a new height that everyone has to chase. How it conveys its character relationships so seamlessly feeling like an adventure from start to finish. An overall vibe that connects with so many people is a testament to how strong it's able to communicate its story and its themes, whether it just be it's about the journey, not the destination, or the themes of loss, which permeate throughout the series and I really connected with. So much so, I actually watched this series right after someone personal to me passed away. Being in that state watching this show, yeah, I can't deny that did a lot for me. Sometimes the emotional experience of the viewer matters just as much as anything else, and that's what it was. I'm pretty happy that this is number 1 currently on Mal, and hey, if I could say that, then you're doing pretty good. Number 7, Gintama Season 2. From front to back, this has a really goddamn good argument for the best Gintama season, and it's by far the funniest, while maintaining those vibes of season 1. As Gintama goes on, the anime stops becoming its own thing and just becomes a straight manga adaptation. Elements are still there, but it's nowhere near as it is in season 1 and in season 2. Maintaining those vibes of season 1 of being very loose with the typical anime structure and being meta. However, it's the combination of multiple series arcs and with comedy episodes, one-offs, and arcs that just keep on hitting. What makes Gintama work for its bigger arcs and comedy, it is a master of build-up. Now, this takes a while to flourish. That's why I think a lot of people drop Gintama. And even Sorachi's new manga, people are kind of winning on early on. The series does deliver, at least in my opinion. There's this 2-episode arc, or like 1.5 episode arc with these demons, and I'm not going to go into the details of what happens in that arc, but that arc especially, it just keeps on going up in stupidity and hilarity. It becomes one of my favorite things in comedy anime history. And you take those same techniques you do with build-up with comedy, except do it with the series arcs and how they use Gintoki's character in this season. Yeah, man. Gintama's pretty fucking good. Number 6, Vinland Saga Season 1. I could talk to you about the world and how realistic it feels, the groundedness of Vinland Saga Season 1, the atmosphere of Vinland Saga Season 1. Sit here and talk about how everything feels like it has stakes and there's like almost no plot armor for everyone, so I'm really on my edge when I see what the fuck is gonna happen since it establishes everything so well. I could talk about strongly the themes are set up in Vinland Saga Season 1. I could talk about all of that, but I only have really one thing to say about Vinland Saga Season 1 that just makes it one of my favorite seasons of anime ever. Askeladd. Peak fucking character. One of my goddamn boys. Carries this season in every way, is mysterious, intriguing, intimidating. You can't help but love him, is charismatic. Askeladd is that shit. He is him to a degree him will never be from this point onwards. Number 5, Gintama Season 4 / Gintama Degrees or Circle or whatever. The first half of Season 4, not Gintama at its worst, but certainly nowhere near its best. If I had to describe a general complaint I had with Gintama at that specific moment before the second half, was that we were building to shit for so fucking long, I was kind of getting tired of it. Like Gintama Movie 2 is part of that buildup. We've been building through this shit for like 250 plus episodes. Holy shit. Like it was getting to the point where I'm like, it's not gonna live up to it. And then the second half starts. It lived up to it. And after that arc, which the series had been building up for so goddamn long, the arc right after that surpassed it. That is special. That is rare. That is what every manga artist that has a long-term series would love to accomplish. That is Gintama Season 4. Number 4, it's Cowboy Bebop, the best 2-core anime of maybe all time. I'll be real here. You don't need me to tell you the greatness of Cowboy Bebop, since so many people have done it. If anything, that's kind of hindered Cowboy Bebop a little bit. Whether you want to talk about the directing, the characters, the music, how varied every episode is, how consistent the quality is. This is the peak Onslaught anime for a reason. I'm actually more interested in taking my time to talk about why it isn't as popular as it once was, especially with newer anime fans. It being such a gold standard in the English fandom, kind of overhypes it. You can't really surprise anybody with Cowboy Bebop since, well, if you know anything about anime, it's Cowboy Bebop's the GOAT, and it's a very episodic series. There's no big overarching story it's telling from episode 1 to episode 2 to episode 3 and so on. It's very episodic, and modern day anime fans, I just think, don't like that as much. And to me, that's kind of a shame. And this is going to take a moment to sell, I don't have any big emotional attachment to Cowboy Bebop. I kind of watched it when the Netflix adaptation came out since it was relevant, saw it and was like, yo, this is just a masterpiece. This is a really goddamn good show. And that's kind of my relationship ended with it. I just thought it was fantastic. And seeing it fall down over the years on Mal, it's kind of why I look at something like Mal rankings and go, nah, this shit just don't matter. Number 3 is Mob Psycho 100 Season 2. Incredible. What more could I personally ask from a show? There is nothing more that I want to ask for Mob Psycho 100. I just want to appreciate and love it for the masterpiece I think it is. I think people do have flaws with it, but I don't see them. I just do not see them. This is a show with everything, a unique and fresh art style that's so well animated and crafted, with some of my favorite character arcs, moments, and animation cuts. The final arc, which hits every cylinder you want to hit. The Reagan arc is one of the best arcs I've seen. Watching Mob's development from season 1 grow from season 2, and seeing him try to just become the best person he can be. So goddamn honest and heartwarming. God, I love this show. The message and the stories it's telling using its character, how everything looks, and the fucking music, the opening. This is the greatest anime opening of all time, and I just talked about Cowboy motherfucking Bebop. It has ambition in its writing, a love for its craft, every goddamn frame, the pop-up moments, and the substance to the story that I want with those pop-up moments. Not a tensionless roller coaster like some of the other shit I'm be watching. I cared about everything. I cared about Mob's journey and him doing what he needs to do for himself. Fuck yeah, Mob Psycho 100 Season 2. God damn, I love this show. It's by far the best anime of the last 20 years, and I don't want to listen to any debate about it. Number 2. It's Legend of the Galactic Heroes. The problem was using the new Zoomer-esque terms to relate how good a show is have been done so to death that they have lost their value and cannot accurately describe how good Legend of the Galactic Heroes is. Anyone says X is peak and oh my god, look at this new show, and then we even think about Legend of the Galactic Heroes, it enters the room. Would that show ever really peak? Whether it's the protagonist, the world, the lore, the side characters, and just the general character writing for its main cast, it's almost completely and utterly flawless. It's a show that takes its time to make sure that you are engrossed into every fucking moment that is happening, and uses all the time in its world so well into investing and making sure every character and every side of this conflict has a third dimension to it, while giving everything the time it needs to breathe. And it's not like it's even predictable. I remember I was watching this scene with this character and I was rooting for one thing, just something for this character. And what happened was better than anything else I could have been rooting for. This, my friends, is one of very fucking few. It's politically rich, lore deep, it has some of the best episodes in anime history. Season 1 to 4 are all such masterpieces on their own right, delivering philosophical messages that will be with me long after the show will end. 110 episodes, and I wanted more. Number 1. Ashita no Joe 2. I don't know if I can properly describe my feelings towards Ashita no Joe, Joe Yubuki, and the directing, the visual presentation of the show inside a segment like this, but I'll try. Osamu Dezaki is just the best to ever do it. How he draws emotion out of you with every shot, musical choice, the character performances so effortlessly through a labor of love for Joe. The ending is spectacular and legendary, but you also still have the Carlos arc, the Kim arc, and the great Jose Mendoza. And how can I not talk about Rikishi? This is the show where Joe versus Rikishi, I would argue, truly starts. And can we not mention Danpei and Yoko and the effects Yoko has on Joe? I can literally go on all day. This isn't even mentioning how great Joe Yubuki and how natural and how multiply dimensional and how grounded and real Joe Yabuki is as my favorite protagonist, my favorite character in all of anime, maybe. And the greatest thing about Astronaut Joe 2, I would argue that the better story content is in Astronaut Joe 1. I think the first half of Joe might be better than the second half of Joe. It's just, this is just so well made, and Joe is such a great character, and seeing his progress from start to finish is just, there's nothing else that touches it. The oldest show in the Mal Top 50, something that wasn't even in it before. It's an old show that's rising. You never see that. I love Astronaut Joe 2. It's number one and one of my favorite animes of all time. And that concludes the top 20 of this sloppy ass Mal Top 50, which is probably gonna get worse before it ever gets better. Is this list good? It's okay. The best top 50 list in the world, but it's our top 50 list. And you know what? If a list pisses everyone off just enough, maybe there is a fair middle here. No, you know what? Fuck this whole website. I'm so fucking done with Mal. God damn it. I'm not fucking watching any of this bullshit anymore. Holy shit. I've released myself from doing this bullshit. I don't have to watch anything cringe like Apothecary Diaries Season 3 or the new One Piece reboot. Y'all motherfuckers gonna be doing that. I'm gonna be watching my obscure mecha shit from now on. Let's fucking go. That brings in the bitches, I guess. Like, comment, subscribe or something. I don't know. Like, not using iMovie anymore is gonna be pretty fun. Yeah, I edited my videos I used to with iMovie. That was fucking horrible. God damn it, shit.